I lived in Italy for a couple of years, a few years ago, and when I lived there I learned how to make the best risotto on the planet, Italian rice. It doesn't get any better than this. Or does it? Today we're going to do risotto cakes, and I've added a little mystery ingredient, cream cheese. It is going to be so good. I'm going to take the risotto that I made with all sorts of fancy ingredients like pine nuts and sun-dried tomatoes, a little bit of basil, some Parmigiano Reggiano, and we are going to wrap it around cream cheese and fry it up. Now tell me, does that not sound delicious? So to start the risotto, I have a little bit of butter and oil sizzling in my pan, and they look like they are nice and hot. So I'm going to add 1 cup of very thoroughly rinsed arborio rice to the saucepan and have it on about medium heat and really stir the rice grains around so that they get coated in the oil. You want them to kind of open up and pop a little bit, almost like you're puffing the rice. You know you're really good to go when you start hearing it sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Alright, now that I have my rice grains sufficiently coated in that oil, I'm going to add in 2 cloves of minced garlic and a few tablespoons of chopped pine nuts so that both of those ingredients can toast a little bit before I start adding my stock. When you make risotto, it is important to have stock, whether you're using vegetable, beef, or chicken. In this case I use chicken because I like to make chicken stock about once a month and just freeze it, keep it around. So after every couple of minutes, your rice grains will have absorbed all of the stock, as you can see here, and you'll want to add some fresh hot stock again. And I usually do it by the ladleful, and I tend to add about 2 ladlefuls. When you're making risotto, you want to continually test the level of doneness of your rice grains, and you don't want to overcook the rice, but you don't want it too raw either. Al dente is the texture that you're going for. And when you feel that you have maybe about 5 minutes left before your risotto is perfect in texture, you'll want to add your sun-dried tomatoes just so that they can rehydrate a little bit, and stir them in. And as you're adding those towards the drier side of an addition of stock, you'll want to really incorporate them nicely and perhaps add a little bit more stock to get the ball rolling on, keeping them nice and moist. All total, I have been cooking the risotto for about 15 minutes, and it's just about ready. The sun-dried tomatoes have been in there for a couple of minutes, and you can see that they add a really nice color to the rice that was previously just white. So I'm going to go with correcting seasonings. I'll add a little bit of salt, and this particular salt is salt that I collect from the waters of the Pacific Ocean, about 3 hours outside of Seattle, and I distill the water down. My husband and my baby and I go out a few times a year and get 25 or 30 gallons of salt water. We distill it down and make some of the best salt you've ever tasted. So I'll add that in, and next up, add a little bit of Parmigiano. There we go. And just about 1/3 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. It's not risotto unless you have something in there that's naughty. Stir all of that in, And you've still got it on the flame here, and it's looking like it's a really great consistency, so I don't think we will need to add any more stock to it. Yeah, it's nice and creamy and just a beautiful texture. So once you have it really coming together there and you're on your tail end of ingredients, you will add basil. And this is chopped fresh basil. I like to keep fresh basil on hand. I just put it in my kitchen window box. This is the basil plant that we pull the basil from, and you may have to change it a couple times a year and get a new plant, but it sure is nice to have fresh basil around. I'm going to stir that basil in, and you can see that the risotto has really taken on almost a porridge-like texture. It's not even really rice anymore. It's kind of become its own element. I just pulled the risotto from the refrigerator. It's nice and chilled. And in the meantime, I rolled 1-inch cylindrical discs from half of a package of Philadelphia cream cheese into these little balls. So what I will be doing at this point is gathering up some of the risotto, taking one of my cheese balls here and rolling it together there to form a cake. So you can see that's a perfect little risotto cake. And I'll continue the... All of my risotto cakes have been placed in the pan, and I am going to lid them and cook them for a couple minutes on each side. I'm doing the lid so that we can make certain that they're heated all the way through. It's been about 1.5 minutes. So I'm going to test these babies. Yeah, they're ready to flip. When you notice as you're flipping them that they have a little bit of a crust developed on the underside, you can go ahead and turn them over. Alright, I did about 2 minutes on the second side to just make sure that they were heated very well through. And they are, I can feel they're just soft and ready to be eaten. So I'm going to pull these puppies and arrange them. And oh boy, I can't wait to take a bite. We are successfully completed with our risotto cakes, and wow, do they look beautiful and delicious. I'm going to go pass this to my guests in the other room, but before I do, I'm going to steal a nibble. Oh, I can't wait. That looks so good. It's perfect. 100% perfect. Risotto, risotto, I said hey. Boo doo 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 doo.